So one thing that you're going to need to do is go up to the Apple menu and go to System Preferences, and this will take you to this menu right here. And we're just going to look at sound, and we're going to check the inputs. You have an internal microphone, and right now this one is boosted up to the max. The microphone, turns out, is not near the camera. It's at the bottom of the computer. So the closer that you are facing, basically projecting your voice to that Apple logo, that's going to give you the clearest sound. But you can adjust the input level. And this is your first step. If you bring this down all the way to the bottom, I can be as loud as I want to be, but you'll notice that the input level is not going that high up. So boost that up until you're not peaking and getting up all the way to the top. It's somewhere about right here where it's going to get fill those bars up and give you a good full sound. And once you got that set, that's step one. Is basically what we're doing is we're going to use this button here to record. But before we do that, we want to make sure that when we record it, we don't hear our own voice in our headset. And to do that, you're going to go to Premiere Pro, and you're going to, let's see if this works. You're going to go to Premiere Pro, Preferences, Audio. Premiere Pro, Preferences, Audio. Just to show you, Premiere Pro, Preferences, Audio. And within that, you'll have a checkbox here that allows you to, here's the key, mute input during timeline recording. If you do that, when you record, you will not hear it, your own voice. You'll just see it being recorded and then hit OK. Recording. When you hit this button, the default is you'll get a 3-second countdown and to do your voiceover. So let's go ahead and see how this turns out. 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is a voiceover test for the computer. I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to see how this turns out. When you're done, you hit the microphone again, and you'll notice you got your first voiceover. You can name these files if you want to, but what you want to look at real carefully is the waveforms. And you're trying to see that, again, that these waveforms are filling and not really close to the bottom. I could go back and I could boost my microphone up and probably get a little bit more solid sound out of that, but that's a good place to start. So basically you can do that as many times as you need to, and you can keep queuing it. And so for this setup, if you have your script, you can basically open up your script off onto another side of the computer and be reading the script at certain points to see how that matches with time. Have your audio recorded, and if you had music, you could do this to some extent. You're going to switch over to the audio workflow. And the audio workflow gives you a chance to listen to, but also to see how high those volume levels go. So before we were looking at it, we didn't get any real color coding, but now when I push play, this is a voiceover test for the computer. I'm able to see how high up the audio peaks. And for each of these, it's a different track. So I'm looking at track 1. Now I'm going to boost this up a little bit because I want this to go up just a little bit higher and maybe peak on the yellow, but definitely don't want it to peak on the red because what that'll do is just create sound distortion. Hi, this is a voiceover. Just a little bit too high, so I'm going to bring it down just a bit more because that is the tallest waveform. Hi, this is a voiceover test for the... and that tends to be good for volume. The other thing that you can do is to go to it as a dialogue, a piece of dialogue, and then just take this preset right here, which has become one of my favorites to work with, clean up noisy dialogue. It's a default preset, especially if you're recording your voiceover in class. If you apply that to your clip, what it'll do is kind of smooth out some of the background noise and let you focus on the speaker. There's more, but I'm going to stop right here. Cleaned up, and it's been designated as dialogue. It's really important that anytime you do a voiceover, you do designate it as dialogue and clean it up, mainly because it's going to let you do this next step, which is called auto ducking. It's something I just taught myself. I'm passing it on. It's pretty useful. It's going to save you a lot of time in the end, especially if you're using music. So I'm going to take this song from YouTube Audio Library and drag it down. And I want you to imagine that throughout this entire timeline, and I know this is a different project, there are multiple voiceovers, and you could conceivably use the control key button to create keyframes and manually change the volume. But at that point, you're doing a lot of extra work and you have to do a lot of tinkering. There's a way to do that automatically, and this is what I want to show. It's called auto ducking. So I undid all those keyframes, but you can still see that volume line right there. Again, this shows the volume of the clip in time, and you can make it up or down, but we're going to do this automatically. So I'm going to take this clip, and I'm going to choose music, designate it as a music clip, and that basically means you're ducking it against the dialog clips. If I click on this box, I'm going to get some choices about how sensitive I want it, how much I want the duck amount to be. I just tried 18 decibels, so it seems to work, and how quickly you want that fade to be. So if you want a long, slow fade, increase the milliseconds. If you want a really quick fade, decrease the milliseconds. And then, again, imagine there's multiple voiceovers here. It'll take the song, and it will duck it underneath so that you can hear the dialogue. I'm going to show you how that works. And all you got to do once you've set the parameters is click Generate Keyframes, and it does that for you. Now again, if you have multiple in there, it's good because it's going to give you a very consistent approach. Now I know that you're going to be hearing this from speaker to microphone, but you'll see that it's done exactly what I told it to do, and again, it's a time saver if you're doing this for multiple voiceovers. Let's see what happens when this auto ducks. Hi, this is a voiceover test for the computer. I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to see how this turns out. When you're done, you hit the microphone. And then it fades back up to the original volume level. So, final step, don't forget auto ducking.